I'm David.
I'm Jessie.
안녕하세요. 저희 오늘 제시쌤과 이제 오늘 얘기할 토픽은요. 이제 세계적으로 지금 돌풍인 K-웨이브에 대해서 말을 할 거예요. 구체적으로 영화에 대해서 기생충이라는 영화에 대해서 말을 할게요. Hey Jessie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. What'd you just say?
I was just explaining that we're going to talk about the global takeover of the K-wave right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That is a thing.
Yeah, it's going quite crazy right now. So I'm briefly going to just go over where I thought it started with.
Okay.
And honestly, I think the very beginning portion of the K-wave started with, I would say about 10 years ago when Gangnam Style hit. The
Oh
scene.
my goodness, I
Yeah.
almost forgot. Okay, now I want to dance. Like,
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It was so
took
funny.
the world by storm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I think it opened up the door for people to appreciate the Korean culture, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that opened the door up for, you know, your BTS, probably.
K-pop,
Yeah,
yes, I know BTS.
Blackpink. And then this is our main topic, and it came into the movie industry. And I think Parasite, which have you heard of?
I have very much heard of Parasite.
Awesome. So Parasite, I think, was the game changer. So I wanted to talk to you about Parasite because I, as a Korean American again, understand Korean fluently, and I didn't need to watch Parasite the first time with subtitles.
Right.
So, and it was just as great. And then the second time around when I watched it with a friend of mine, he wasn't as fluent in Korean as I was. So I had to turn on the subtitles and watch it with him. And this time I really focused on the subtitles, and I understood why it was such a great hit to Americans as well. Because as you know, subtitles sometimes could get
Awful.
really bad.
Awful.
Right?
So
Awful.
bad.
It doesn't make any sense at
Not
times.
at all.
Yeah. So for Parasite, it was quite refreshing to see that the subtitles actually went along with the story. So I have a couple of timestamps here that I wanted to discuss with you and trying to get your opinion on, which I thought were pretty crucial things and which were kind of brilliant in my mind. So we'll start with this first scene here.
Okay, fair warning to the audience, I've never actually seen this movie, so this is going to be genuine reactions.
Also, this movie is not suitable for younger kids. So if you're
Yeah, it is
younger,
rated R rated, so if
Exactly.
you're younger than 17 years old, watch with a parent.
So in this scene, you're gonna this is the very beginning of the movie. Want to get your reaction for is gonna come up here shortly.
Okay. Coffee land.
So as you can see, they're trying to search for free Wi-Fi because they can't afford it.
Yeah, up by the toilet.
That subtitle right there, I mean,
Yes.
the whole scene in general, I want to get your reaction and see if that made any sense to you.
In regard to this subtitle, then check WhatsApp. Yeah, that's an app that I use frequently when trying to communicate with people usually abroad, actually, that aren't in the US. So it's like a text message app.
Yeah. If you know what WhatsApp is, do you happen to know what Kaakaotalk is then?
What? No, no, not even a little bit.
Yeah, so in this scene in general, this mom is actually referring to Kaakaotalk,
Oh, okay.
which is the Korean version of WhatsApp. But in Korea, we don't really use WhatsApp, we use Kaakaotalk for everything. So to purchase food or gifts for people, to call taxis, phone calls, video calls, text messaging. Kaakaotalk is the app that most Korean people use. But for the American the audience, WhatsApp makes a lot more sense.
It's like the most similar to it. I
Exactly.
mean, we can't order food on WhatsApp, I don't think, or anything
Yeah.
like that, but we can talk to people.
So yeah, I just thought that subtle change in the subtitle, it was kind of smart, you know, because as you said, right away you knew what WhatsApp was.
Yeah.
You've used it, you've done it. But then if the subtitles said then check Kaakaotalk, the American audience would kind of be lost in a sense.
Right.
So I thought it was smart that the person who wrote the subtitles used a more appropriate way to get the audience more involved as well.
I think so too. It's a really good correlation for English speakers.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on here. So leading up to this scene, this friend whose name is Min comes into the family's household while they're eating dinner. And he brought a gift, and it was a stone that was metaphorical to bringing in wealth to the family.
Oh, I love
So
that.
this is kind of where the whole story begins to fall into place. So with Min here, he brings his friend out, and he's gonna talk to him about a tutoring that he does.
건강을 하신데
Ironic.
Ironic, right? At Excel Academy.
Cell Academy.
기정이도 그냥 집에 있냐? 학원 안 가고?
Drinking, I like it.
귀엽지? 걔인가? 네가 가르친다는 거? 박다혜 고2
So right there. So leading up to that, the subtitles, did it make sense to you again?
Oh yeah, I understood everything. He's tutoring a sophomore.
Yeah. That for me was another really small change with the Korean culture and the Korean school system. Because in Korea it's just called 고, 1, 2, and 3, which means high school level, year 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, you only have 3 years in high school?
So yeah, it's 3 years of middle school. So you get middle school year 1, 2, 3, and then you get high school year 1, 2, 3.
That's weird. We have 4 years here.
Yeah, so
Well, 3 and then 4.
exactly. So with the subtitles, I thought it was smart because I've seen multiple Korean movies where the subtitles would just say year 2
Yeah.
or year 2 in high school or year 2 in junior high school. But for me, the fact that the subtitle writer once again knew that that doesn't have any correlation with the American audience,
Right.
just made the smart change of just writing sophomore, so that
That's very smart. You know what I find even more interesting is that it's specifically directed towards the American watcher, definitely, because think about it, in England, in London, they have year 1, year 2.
oh yeah.
I mean, it's still English speaking, but it's not America. America, I think, is the only ones that do like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Yeah.
So that's really cool that he was targeting the American audience for that subtitle.
Yeah, it's those kind of like subtle changes, I think, really distinguished how this movie did in America, basically.
Yeah.
Just because with these subtitles, there could be a loss of connection with the difference in culture.
Absolutely.
But then with the subtitle writer, he understood that there is a difference, and he tried to cater towards, with the subtitles at least, cater towards the American audience so that people can understand and relate to the story.
Yeah, the subtitle maker making subtle changes.
Yeah. Nice wordplay.
Right?
And then we're gonna keep going. There's another scene here that I would like to bring up.
이거
Okay.
대신
So-
과외 선생님 좀 해줘라 영어 야, 너 학교에 친한 과 친구들 많잖아 굳이 왜 나도 백수한테 그걸 안 해?
Aw.
So that right there, once again, I'm just gonna ask you, did the subtitles make?
They only made sense because I knew what they were going for, but it did not target an American audience. That
Okay.
subtitle targeted an English audience
An English audience in general, you think?
because
Okay.
it said university. And even if it is Stanford University, you know, we don't say university in America usually. We say
Yeah.
college no matter what.
Yeah, that is.
Like, I'm
true.
going back to uni. That's a very British thing to say.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never been to England, so I paused it on this scene right here in general, just because of the word loser.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about university. What about loser? Loser makes sense. Loser totally makes sense.
So what the character said initially, which caught my eye, was in Korean it's 백수, and basically 백수 means homebody. He doesn't have work. He just stays at home. But in America, homebody kind of just can mean a good thing too, you know?
Introvert.
Like, yeah, introverted, basically. So instead of using a word that can confuse the audience and saying, oh, maybe is he saying he's introverted, or confusing the audience with the character, they switched that out with just loser.
Because it's a connotation that it's not like, oh, I just like to stay home. It's I'm a guy that kind of does nothing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this character, he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have money. He doesn't come from a wealthy household. So he thinks of himself as a loser. So instead of saying homebody and then losing correlation with the character, the actual subtitle writer just used the word loser so that people
Totally sets it up.
yeah, so they can connect and understand the character. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting as
Yeah,
well.
I would have no idea that whatever word they used was like homebody, because that's a totally different connotation than loser. Loser completely sets character tone for him.
Yeah.
A simple word like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I have one more here. So in the next scene, the character who called himself a loser decides to take that job as a
Okay.
tutor. But then, as Korean culture refers most academically, they're trying to forge an acceptance letter to one of the top tier schools.
Okay,
The
he'll
person-
get the job.
Exactly.
And, right.
서울대학교 문서 위주학과 뭐 이런 건가?
Right there, up to that point, I just want to see, does that subtitle once again make sense to you?
Makes perfect sense. Oxford is the college, major is what you study in school, and then document forgery is the subject of the major.
Exactly. The reason I thought this was brilliant again is father here actually says Seoulde, which is the top university in Korea, which every student
Oxford.
wants.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Seoul University is arguably the school that every top 1%er student wants to go to.
And I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I know this is just the very beginning of the movie, but these subtitles, in my opinion, is what made this movie so successful. Just because these little small changes which helps the audience get more interactive and understand the character development and storytelling of the movie, it doesn't get lost with translation and subtitles. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes it easier for us to follow, for us to understand. As somebody that does not typically watch foreign films, because I can't get into it with a foreign film. And I haven't tried in a while, but I've just heard that subtitles are awful. So now that I know that it's something I could actually follow if I focus, definitely something I'd watch.
Awesome. This is arguably in my top 10 favorite movies right now.
You're not alone. I have
Yeah.
a bunch of friends that love this movie. I'm obsessed with horror, everything scary, horror, thriller, I love, so I haven't seen this and that's a problem.
And to be honest, this movie has a little bit of all of the things that you said.
Everything.
Yeah. Comedy, horror, like suspense, romance. So definitely I would recommend watching this movie.
Will do.
Awesome. Well, Jessie, thank you so much for your time and talking about one of my favorite movies with me.
Of course.
And yeah, did you have any other things that you wanted to add on before we get out of here?
I just appreciate you showing me. This is something I could actually watch and follow.
Awesome. 자, 그러면 오늘 제시쌤과 기생충 자막에 대해서 이야기를 나눴는데요. 다음에는 또 다른 재밌는 토픽으로 만나 뵐게요.
Thanks for watching.